I can tell you, certainly it was much better then. When I went to APU in 1975, with 75 kobo you had 3 meals a day.
Independence Day is an official national holiday in Nigeria, which is celebrated on the 1st of October. It marks Nigeria's proclamation of independence from British rule on 1st of October 1960. As Nigeria clocks 61 years today, Roots TV team interviewed 3 elderly persons who shared their unique stories of growing up before and after Nigeria's independence. They equally shed more light on the current happenings in the country while comparing the standard of living then and now.
I started primary school before the first military coup took place. So thereafter, I spent most of my growing up years under the military regimes that came and went, including my university. I graduated under military rule and then served under civilian rule in the Second Republic. So you can have an idea of my journey. I can tell you, certainly it was much better then. I was an undergraduate in the mid-70s, right? And I went to Ahmadu Bello University. It is true. We had our laundry done. You just put your dirty clothes in a pillowcase, put it in front of your door. The laundry people came round, picked them, and washed them, and they brought them ironed, and they would put them on your bed while you were away. When I went to APU in 1975, with 75 kobo you had 3 meals a day. Later on, when I think in my part 1, we called it then a 3-year degree program. It was, 50 kobo fed you 3 times a day. That was why when General Obasanjo's government decided to increase the cost of food, among other things, from 50 kobo to 150 kobo, 150 kobo then. We had those demonstrations, or they call riots, in 1978, known as Ali Must Go. We were in a different world from the one that our children grew up in. I used to tell my children, tell them the stories of how life was for us in the university. For instance, we were 2 in my room. I went back to that university and just went to people. There were 8 people who were staying in that same room. I mean, I was horrified. It was unimaginable.
Life was much, much better in the past. I would say I was lucky than any of you now, in the sense that what I did not make any effort to receive, people will now struggle to have it. In the 70s, when we went to school, when we were on the campus, you can't believe that before we come back from lectures, our beddings and everything have been taken care of. The cleaners enter the various rooms in the campus, remove your bedding, bring a new one, dress it. Now, it is like going to heaven for anybody these days to have such a pleasure.
Though our life then was better in the sense that we obey the laws and the order, and the security is tight. You can travel any time of the day and come back any time of the day. Unlike now, even if your house is not secured, no matter how you lock your house, it's not secured. Now they even go from house to house, knocking people's door to come out, and they shoot them. So you can see that it's not something that you can point a finger or accuse finger, let me be precise, on anybody. Nobody is the cause. It's the society. And I think it's all over the world.
When we talk like this, The young people now think that we took away all the good things that they could also have had. So things should have gotten better than during our time. I know that the numbers have expanded.
The population counts again. If in those days, in this first regime, how many universities do we have? Now, how many universities do we have? The difference, you can even see it yourself. The number of people that comes out then was manageable. Unlike now that everybody wants to be a graduate.
I remember when the present president, Buhari, was the military president that time, things started showing a very bad shape. To the point that even to buy milk or sugar, one has to queue up to buy such things from places like Chanrai and other big supermarkets.
Well, some people might argue, and I'll be one of them, very harsh, draconian conditions were imposed. People were queuing up for what they called essential commodities, or Esenko, and soldiers beat people up on the lines while they themselves were cutting away. It was terrible things going on.
The past administration, it was just like somebody who wants to correct a child. You have a whip in your hand. The child will fear the whip and then will not misbehave, even if he has the intention to do it. But now, if you don't have the whip and the people surrounding you say, if you say yes, we follow. If you say no, we won't follow you. The regime, the past is automatically, the difference is clear.
Human rights, abuses were there. The retroactive nature of some of the decrees that were made. For instance, the execution of those 3 young people over drug, a crime they committed before the law itself came into being. Politicians were hounded into, some were given jail sentences of 100 and something years, and all that kind of thing.
Life was then not as it was before he came. So I'm not surprised that these days, what was like 10% that time has now progressed negatively more.
I think that looking back now, that regime did not prepare. But how often do military regimes prepare anyway? They shoot themselves to power and say, we're going to correct this. They had no blueprint. So I think that they were just living from day to day and addressing issues as they came and so on. So that is the problem. And I think one sees a lot of that also this second time around. Don't forget that it was after he was elected that he put together a team under the late elder statesman Ahmed Joda to, as it were, package a program for his government. And it took how long for ministers to be appointed and all that.
I remember, for those of us who went to school those days, before you graduate, many people had already gotten places they would work. People come the day of passing out in NYSC, you see people coming to scramble to ask you, as if they are campaigning, asking you, would you like to work with us in our various places?
In my days, you chose what job to do. That's how much better things were.
Getting a job was even something like a choice for the fresh graduate. If this offer is not good, you go for a better one.
Because of the kind of economy that we're not producing, right? Government depends on royalties from oil, just revenue from oil that we were not adding value to, and so on. And of course, when the oil boom came, some other sectors, especially agriculture, they emphasized. I mean, we were not growing the economy. If you don't do that, then you must be prepared to have an army of graduates who cannot get jobs.
But now, you know what it is. A vacant position, if it exists, more than 100 or if not above, will be scrapping for it. So that is the issue.
One way of escape would have been using this ICT, this new technology. You hear that young people are developing programs, software, what have you, and they're making. But how many? How many? That's a major issue. So you will always have, I'm afraid, a high rate of unemployment, and we ourselves are demarketing the young people, say they are unemployable, right? And it's very sad, you know, sitting as a parent, you know, who has watched one's children couldn't get into areas they felt they had been prepared for, you know, sitting unemployed and so on. I have paid school fees, they're finished, I am still feeding them and so on. So we identify with that. That was certainly never a thing we could think about in our days. Nowadays is, what job do you want to do? Some had them lined up. And it's not because they were from a rich background, you know. So that's the thing.
The naira will definitely fall because we don't even know how to handle the naira. That is why we rely on the dollar and we rely on everything imported. Everybody in Nigeria doesn't want anything Nigeria. Apart from people in the village. Even people in the village now, if you give them clothes, they will check the edges first. And where do you get that from? The naira.
If you don't produce enough to sell out there so that you can buy currency, right? But you are buying and consuming more. And you know, Nigeria, we are importing everything. They say, including toothpick, we don't produce here. Now, when you add to that the economic problems, sometimes even somersaults, where even our industry, manufacturing, gone down. Some of those industries that used to also help us with employment, they say they have relocated either to Ghana or someplace. You know, so all those now put together put pressure on the naira.
For example, when things went wrong in a country very close to us, they ran to Nigeria. Now Nigeria are running to them because their currency is so powerful that like 6 Ghanaian money is $1. So you see, most of our actors and actresses, they are just flocking to Ghana to make both ends meet. And when they come, the difference is clear. They come with the dollars and change. But for those of us who have nowhere to run to, we still manage what we have.
I am somebody who, up till now, I don't imagine myself being a stranger in somebody else's country, right? Where I won't have the chance to say, look, you guys are not doing well in this area. With Nigerians, we're like that. We're outspoken. But I decided that I must come back here and actually slug it out to make the place as good as I want it to be. In other words, contribute my own quota. Rather than being a hidden statistic, invisible statistic in somebody else's country. And I still, I mean, okay, I leave Nigeria and go elsewhere. So what? Right? This is where I belong. yes, things are not the way I want them, but I don't think the solution is to just run away.
In a country where somebody would have a first class from a notable university and would be lucky to serve somebody who cannot write his name as the Oga, as the main person in the office, because that person comes from a particular part of the country. You all the effort in going to school and doing so well, you only end up to serve somebody that cannot write his name. It's very, very questionable. But to say the least, it is not good, it's not right. That is why a lot of people who do not believe in one Nigeria may not be blamed.
Yes, restructuring absolutely is necessary, but we must define that restructuring in such a way that human beings who are Nigerians will have a better life.
The regional governments and the democratic government, the one you say they should restructure. Who are the people restructuring? Are they not these very people that bastardize our naira?
There should be restructuring for people to be appropriately rewarded for a commensurate input in a thing.
Restructuring is not the problem. It's our attitude. It's our attitude that we have to check ourselves.
See, just one thing. 2023 is around the corner. If the young people in this country will say, look, we're going to stay here, but we'll make sure that 2023 produces us as the people in government, the legislature, the executive. They can do it. And then they can have the kind of country they want.
The natural thing is that the youths of today, who will become adults of tomorrow, should take over the responsibility of tomorrow.
You see, when you have something, one thing people don't know, in the whole world, there is nowhere like Nigeria. In the whole world.